Hello everybody, welcome to Force Friday, the new weekly Star Wars show where we share our views on all the various different headlines and news from the world of Star Wars, be it canon related or movie related or just anything relating into Star Wars. This week we've got a few items to discuss. Stephen, what's up first?
Well, as you know, John, The Last Jedi DVD Blu-ray is going to be released within the next few weeks. It's going to be a digital download first of all, and then it will come out in hard copy over here in the UK, but I think first in the US. First up is the Blu-ray's featurette of 14 deleted scenes. Disney have finally revealed some of the details about what to expect, announcing 14 deleted scenes and a whole host of other features. While none of the deleted scenes were detailed, the studio has confirmed an in-depth documentary with director Rian Johnson walking viewers through the movie's production. There are also 3 scene breakdowns looking at how the team at Lucasfilm creating the epic escape battle at the beginning of the movie, creating Snoke, and the climatic battle on Crate. And topping off everything, there are 2 sequences featuring the raw performance of Andy Serkis as Snoke and an audio commentary by Johnson. A trailer for the release features footage from throughout the movie, including some major spoilers. I've got to say, John, I loved the trailer for the Blu-ray release. I thought it was actually a better trailer than the actual trailer for the film.
Yeah, I mean, completely agree with you, Stephen. Just what I've heard on some of these deleted scenes, it's very, very interesting. Some of them are... I wish they were in the film, I've got to be honest with you. I mind discussing this with you, Stephen, earlier in one of our chats about The Last Jedi, over what happened to Tom Hardy's little cameo. Obviously, there was discussion about him popping up and slapping Finn's backside, and it sounded like a very funny interaction between the two characters, and it certainly seems like this is one of the things that's hit the cutting room floor. Now, what I'm reading here is there was indeed a scene, and it's going to be revealed in this Blu-ray release, Finn Stormtrooper Buddy it's called, I think, where basically he bumps into a stormtrooper who recognises him, and obviously the implications from this meeting was that Finn was embarrassed because this chap wasn't aware that he'd defected and stuff like that. So I would have loved to have seen this. I would have loved to have seen Tom Hardy's little cameo after Daniel Craig's in The Force Awakens. It was a shame it didn't make the final film. Certainly when you see like that whole half hour nonsense in Canto Bight, what would this one little scene have made in terms of tone and pacing? It wouldn't have made any difference. So I'm excited to see all these various different deleted scenes.
Listen, it was one of the negatives that came back from when the Force Awakens DVD Blu-ray release, the initial release that came out 2 years ago, was that there wasn't enough bonus features on the discs. They did release one, I think, 6 months later, which a lot of fans, there's a bit of a backlash from the fans, thinking, and rightly so, that they were getting shortchanged with the initial Blu-ray release of The Force Awakens. It appears that Lucasfilm have picked up on this, and they don't want to go down that road again. As we already know, The Last Jedi is still, the jury's out on it, and they certainly don't want to be annoying fans any further by shortchanging them, and they certainly have, by the looks of things. They've put the whole package together for this one. I'm looking forward to seeing these deleted scenes, John. I know that we're going to go into a wee bit more in depth in a moment about them, but listen, some of them you wonder why they weren't in the film, and there'll be other ones you'll understand why they were never anywhere near the final cut. It was one of the things that I always commended the prequels for, was the DVD releases and what was packaged with them. I thought they did a outstanding job, a very thorough job. I don't think there was any corner or stone left unturned as far as behind the scenes stuff went with them. Certainly there was a lot of deleted scenes, and as I said, if there's going to be a kind of audio commentary track on these deleted scenes explaining the reason why they weren't included in the film, it certainly helps sometimes for the audience to understand why they were cut.
Yeah, and I'm pleased to see that there is more deleted scenes in this release, because you're right, the last one with The Force Awakens was a joke. I think there was very little. Did they even put a documentary in it? I don't think they did they? It was terrible, the release, and then they did release a better one a few months down the line, but it felt very much like they were milking the fans of their money. when they could have just did this anyway. So I'm glad to see they've at least learnt some lesson from one of their mistakes, and they've made quite a few by releasing a proper behind the scenes features and stuff like that, and deleted scene features. It's always been one of the things Star Wars has been known for, releasing great documentaries. I mean, you're quite right, Stephen. Despite what your thoughts are on the prequel trilogy, you can't argue about the extras and the DVD sets and stuff like that, and the Blu-ray sets that were released later. Very, very strong with all the artistic stuff and how they done the CG and the deleted scenes. It was phenomenal what Lucas did with that. I can't argue there. And yeah, just going on to some of these ones. I'm obviously not going to go through every single one. We'll be here all night. But I find it interesting, as I touched upon with the Tom Hardy one. That was very interesting. I'd love to have seen him pop up in it. It's a shame, because I'm a fan of Tom Hardy, and I'm no doubt in my mind that Stormtrooper would have been him. But I just another one, I can understand why this get cut. The third lesson from Luke, obviously, when he says to Rey he would teach her 3 lessons. We only ever get to see 2 before she leaves the island. And it goes on to say that basically there was a warring tribe raided the caretaker village. Something the Jedi would not normally choose to involve themselves in, for fear of making it worse. Rey obviously then refuses and rushes to help, only to find out there was no raid, it was a party. And this is apparently, Rian Johnson went on to say, was the straw that broke the camel's back. If it was to stay in, this was what led to the tumultuous end to their relationship on the island and her rushing off. I actually like the way they done it in the film, when it was the conversations between her and Kyle, which served as the straw that broke the camel's back. So I can understand why that get cut. I'm not too disappointed with that. But there's a whole host of other interesting ones involving Phasma and stuff like that. But I'll let you in. What's your thoughts on that further lesson I've seen? Would you have liked to have seen that stay in?
I think so, John. I think, you know, I'm a bit biased here because, you know, the more Luke Skywalker the better as far as I'm concerned. There was... I've not seen the film since December, as I previously mentioned. When I do get back to see it, it will probably be for this release anyway. And my memory serves me correct, it didn't feel like he was in the film a lot. He probably was. It just didn't, I don't think I can ever get enough of the character. I think that's the problem. No, but I would have liked to have seen that, you know, that scene being left in. I've got to be honest. Something I didn't actually notice. I didn't realise that he only, you know, on camera or on film, I should say, for the final cut, we only saw 2 of the lessons. I didn't realise that. Yeah, I think it got cut short with obviously Kyle's FaceTime, persistent FaceTime, and the weirdo, the big gonk with his top off and stuff like that. Yeah, that was just weird. But yeah, one of the other scenes that caught my eye was the battle between Finn and Phasma. In the original cut, Phasma actually seen off Finn. He didn't come up in that little elevator thing and strike her by surprise. She actually captured him, and then Finn outed Phasma as a bit of a coward and a traitor to the First Order. He says she gave the codes for Starkiller Base off very easily and stuff like that, and yeah, he just made her look like a fool. I would have loved to have seen that. And Ryan says he really liked the moment of Phasma being caught and getting called out by John in that little game of chess they had going on, but they needed to condense it and have a more condensed version of that scene, which is a shame. I can understand. The film was already 2 hours and 15 minutes long or something. You can't fit everything in, and we did hear reports that he had a 3-hour version of the film or something. So, but yeah, I'd have loved to have seen that, him calling her out and just continuing that little rivalry they had. But certainly, I think we're not going to see it now. I think she's pan-breed, Stephen, as they call it in Scotland. She's dead. But that would have been interesting. Yeah, I mean, when the trailer came out, it looked like there was going to be some epic battle between both of them. And if my memory serves me correct, I think, all in all, I think it was maybe about a minute or whatever it was, you know, that they were fighting for. And this is, it's funny. The actual, you know, the way they executed that scene reminded me a lot of Marty McFly jumping off the top of Biff's hotel and Biff getting, you know, twatted over the face with the DeLorean door. It just, I don't know, it reminded me of that for some reason. I don't know why. But no, it's one of those, you know, you've got to take into consideration that the film, I think this is the longest Star Wars film, the running length. Yeah. And yeah, ideally would like to see all Canto Bites scenes all cut, but you might as well take John Boyega off the billing then, because most of his scenes were, you know, during these sequences, unfortunately. I felt that sorry for the actor, because the scenes were absolutely diabolical. It took me back to some of the unnecessary CG that was in the prequels, heavily CG'd, and also, you know, the filmmakers' message about animal cruelty and child slavery and all that. I don't have to see that in a Star Wars film. It's already, you know, covered in the Phantom Menace anyway, with Anakin being a young slave boy, you know, and look how he turned out. Sometimes you're better just staying a slave. No, just moving on anyway, John.
Yeah, moving on. As I said, we're not going to touch upon every single deleted scene we'd be here all day. There was another one with BB-8 moonlighting as a Pete and Tom and showing Finn in a hologram, but we'll not go there. We'll not go there. He showed Rey the moment she said goodbye to him at the end of The Force Awakens. All very interesting, but we'll see these in more detail. I'm sure we'll discuss them in a further show down the road when it releases, and we can actually watch them and not read them off articles. But yeah, all very interesting. Moving on though, Stephen, staying along the theme of The Last Jedi, we've also got some surprises coming out in the novelisation of The Last Jedi, and apparently there's 8 surprises been found. Lord knows if there's any more, but we know there's 8 at the moment, and these are very interesting indeed. They maybe add a little bit of context to the film, context to some things we see, which left us scratching my head. Certainly left some of us scratching my heads during the film.
The first one up was Luke had already decided to burn the Jedi text, John.
Yeah.
This would be before Rey came into his life.
Yeah.
I assume. I don't know. I don't know how that works, because he was so precious about the books. You know, when the Yoda scenes. So I don't know if there was a bit of a rewrite there or not. I don't understand if this is going to be in the novelisation, how that plays out, how he was going to burn them, but then, you know, with the tree burning down, you know, I don't know, it's a bit of a contradiction. He's so precious over this tree, but, you know, he wanted to burn the books. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, maybe he's just one of these tree huggers, Stephen. I don't know, maybe he'd become really attached to that tree over the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but how many years he was there, I don't know. Certainly I think Yoda's little appearance, I think they go on to say, was the one that ultimately caused them to hesitate in setting the tree ablaze. See, this confuses me, because when I'm reading this article it does mention him setting the tree ablaze, but then it says about burning Jedi text. I didn't realise it was one and the same thing. But yeah, it's interesting. It adds context to the character, I suppose, that he was in such a bad place that he was going to do this regardless. And certainly in the film it looks as though its rate tips him over the edge, but it certainly does look as though he was in a bad place. And yeah, it adds context to Yoda popping up, because it shows that he really does take the choice out of his hands and does it himself, and frees him up to walk into that epic final scene where he sees off the First Order as a holographic form. But moving on, Stephen, the next one on the list is Kylo Ren would have saved Leia if possible. Apparently he'd have saved her by freezing the blasters from the 2 TIE fighters either side of him, but apparently he got caught off guard. I don't know how he got caught off guard, because he was in the ship in the middle of them.
Yeah, I think this is the scene, is it, where his finger was on the trigger?
Yeah.
And I think he was recalled back to the Supremacy by General Hux at this point. He'd already, you know, pulled away from attacking Leia's position on that ship anyway. As you know, she was blasted into space at this point. It's interesting. I don't know how that will fit into novelisation right enough that he would have saved Leia if possible. If there's any quotes in there from the character, you know, maybe communicating with Leia, I don't know how that would play out, because he certainly wouldn't want to admit that to Snoke or anything like that, you know, that he would want to save his mother.
I find it interesting for his character going forward, actually, if that's canon, because it does show there is, say now that was before he murdered Snoke in the fashion he did, so maybe he's full on dark side now, but that would certainly indicate that there is chunks of light still in him, that he's quite conflicted, and that he's maybe open to being redeemed still, which I do want to see. I want to see him be redeemed, even though he is a git. I do like him. He's my favourite character in these new films, out with the original trio, which are dying, dropping like flies now anyways. But yeah, I mean, I would like to see him redeemed, but obviously Kathleen Kennedy may have other ideas in mind. I know she doesn't like chats by all accounts, if you're to believe some reports, so expect to see Kylo die, expect to see John Boyega die, expect to see Oscar Isaac die, and Hux may die as well, yeah. And what we'll be left with is a lot of women running about
Forks.
in pogs, firing ships into other ships. But no, joking aside, it's very interesting for the Kylo character if this actually is canon, because it may suggest that he's still redeemable after all, which is something I did mention after The Last Jedi. I've seen various other viewpoints saying that he's full dark side now, you can't redeem him, but I hope they do, and this may be a little chink of light for him. Moving on, Stephen, unless you've got something else to say about that, the next one revealed is Palpatine knew about Snoke's existence. Apparently, before he got flung down a shaft at the end of the Return of the Jedi, he apparently felt inklings through the Force of Snoke's presence. He wasn't exactly sure who or what it was he was sensing, but if Snoke was hanging about at this point, then it begs the question, why did he not pop up during the original trilogy? Was he in the unexplored territories doing his thing? I don't know, but it's interesting that he was about during Palpatine's time and that Palpatine was aware of him. I do wonder, I would have loved to have seen Palpatine murder him or have some sort of a confrontation with him, but it wasn't to be because he wasn't thought of before The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens. But it's all very interesting. It's tying in again, if this is canon, to the films.
It's how you tie it into a novel as well, John.
Yeah.
How are we going to, know that Palpatine knew about Snoke's existence in this novelisation, unless Snoke is the one that says Palpatine knew about me or something. It's one of those ones, that nobody can really argue with him because Palpatine's not about anymore.
It's a bit like Macca, isn't it, with the Beatles, making things up to fit his agenda now that the rest are dying off.
And it's just, it's one of the ones, you're trying to tie in, some new canon with old canon, and it's not necessary. Who cares if Palpatine knew about him anyway, unless he's Darth Plagueis, which he clearly isn't now,
What is he?
It's the only reason that I can see this fitting in here, because otherwise it's just a pointless piece of... It's certainly not a surprise for me to put this into a novelisation. It's just pointless as far as I'm concerned. Just moving on to the fourth surprise, Snoke's takeover of the First Order was unexpected. That one does surprise me, because the character portrays someone who, very much like Palpatine, is like a chess player, and he's always like 10 moves ahead of his opponent. For his takeover of the First Order being unexpected would have to be from out with Snoke himself, because the character comes across that this would have been his main goal, to recreate the Empire or whatever you want to call it. I don't know where the unexpected bit's coming from, if it's coming from the Republic or from the Resistance or from the Knights of Ren. I don't really know.
Yeah, it says in this article that obviously in Battlefront, Palpatine establishes Operation Cinder, and in the event of the Empire being destroyed, they basically put to establish a new First Order in its place, and the surviving leadership were to follow through this plan. But they go on to say that they weren't expecting Snoke's rise to the power, and this maybe ties into what we were talking there about him knowing Snoke through the Force, or sensing him through the Force. Maybe Snoke also sensed the Emperor, realised that he died, and then he made his move. Maybe he was waiting in the shadows for this opportune moment to come in. And it says that he went and he murdered most of the leaders of the First Order of the Fallen Empire and took his place at the top. Apparently he kept Armitage Hux. I don't know why. It says he kept him around as a tool. Don't know what it adds to things going forward, because as we all know, Snoke's dead. So I would love to see maybe a standalone film at some point, seeing this character's rise, and what he was doing in the undiscovered territories of the galaxy, what he was getting up to. Obviously Rian Johnson's doing a trilogy in this area. Maybe this is what he's going to touch upon. We're going to see an early part of Snoke's history. I don't know. He's not really went into any details about what this trilogy is going to encompass, what timeline it's going to take place in. But if we're not going to see it in a film, I don't really know what it adds to anything, Stephen.
Yeah, Snoke, a Star Wars story, coming to cinemas May 2025. Just moving on, Snoke learned more about the Force in the unknown regions. Again, it's something that just kind of adds weight to the character. It certainly would work in a novelisation. It certainly would work in any kind of standalone film for the character as well. And as you said, this could tie in with how Palpatine knew about his existence, I suppose. That would make sense. Luke and Snoke connected, John. This is the next surprise.
Yeah, just quickly touching back on that previous one, do you think they're actually doing this because of the criticisms of Snoke not getting fleshed out? Basically, we've just seen the character for 5 minutes in terms of screen time and then he get killed off. I think that's maybe why they're doing this. They're trying to appease sections of the fandom by trying to flesh out something that resembles a backstory of the character. But yeah, I mean, this is very interesting as well. The talk about Luke and Snoke being connected. Again, this is something I'd love to see taking place in a film, not so much in a novel. I do read the novels, but I've always said I'd love to see a Sebastian Stan, Luke Skywalker standalone. I know that's heresy to a lot of people, but Mark Hamill's getting on now. He can't play a younger Luke, and I do love the Luke character. I don't think we get anywhere near enough of him in between that period, between the Return of the Jedi and the Force Awakens, due to age and it being robbed of Mark Hamill because George was sitting in his backside doing nothing. So I'd love to see the backstory of his character, what he was getting up to, learning the Force. And this meeting with Snoke, that'd be amazing to see on screen. Certainly in the book it'll, again, flesh out Snoke's backstory, flesh out Luke's backstory. But just the thought of them meeting in this uncharted part of the galaxy, I'm presuming, it's very, very interesting from a Star Wars canon point of view. Snoke was obviously evil, but was he always evil? Was he maybe more greyish when Luke met him and he wasn't aware of this? I don't know.
Well, I mean, it says in the article it's unclear if Luke knew right away that Snoke was evil.
Yeah.
Though, it goes on to say, I imagine once Luke learned of Snoke's true nature, he regretted crossing paths with the decrepit dark side user. This article, actually, we should mention this from cinemablend.com.
Yeah. I think this blends in with him finding and discovering the whereabouts of Ben Solo. If they maybe met and he became aware of his existence through Luke, and this is how you get into twisting him, because we obviously see in the film Luke saying that Snoke got in and twisted his mind. This maybe shows us how he met Ben, and maybe something happened in the academy or something like that. It's very interesting.
I think Leia and Han touched on it in The Force Awakens as well. I think Leia said to Han it was Snoke that turned him. I think Han at that point was feeling very regretful and responsible for the way that Ben Solo turned out. But it's possible, John. It's possible that this could have been the sort of interaction that Snoke and Kylo Ren began their relationship through Luke. Who knows? Yeah,
because how else could they have met then? I don't know. It's strange. How would they have met him? Also, in the Anakin Skywalker story, we've seen Palpatine grooming him from a very young age. We knew how he got into his head and really made him the sinister Darth Vader, but we don't really know how Kylo got to meet Snoke, how he became his apprentice. So I mean, maybe this will tie in. Maybe they'll be doing novels. Maybe they will do a standalone film sometime in the future down the road. Who knows, man? I don't know what to make of this, though, whether to take this serious or not, because we don't really know whether this is going to be proper canon, or are we going to get another Kathleen Kennedy special, or she just ignores the book completely to do her own thing in other films, Lord knows. But moving on from that, Stephen, we've got Snoke considered killing Kylo Ren. I don't think this is much of a surprise, is it? That's kind of the dark side way, isn't it?
Well, I would say so, John. After watching The Last Jedi, I think I spoke about this before to you in regards to that relationship. Somewhere down the line between The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, that relationship deteriorated. I know we didn't get a lot of Snoke in The Force Awakens, and the timeline between both episodes, I think it's only minutes between them anyway, so it's not as it really did deteriorate very quickly. In The Force Awakens, I felt Snoke was kind of bumming him up a lot. You're the great Kylo Ren, the leader of the Knights of Ren, etc. She resisted you and all that. He was really building him up in The Force Awakens to be this force of nature. In The Last Jedi, he bitch slapped him at every opportunity he could get, slating his ridiculous mask, the scar that was on his face, belittling him in front of those guards, and I mean he spared them the embarrassment of doing it in front of General Hux. He basically waited till he left the room before he really came down on top of him. So I can believe that Snoke considered killing Kylo Ren perhaps once he knew of the existence of Rey.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely did bully him. I mentioned that in my review. It was slightly odd. It didn't seem to fit The Force Awakens at all. Obviously in The Force Awakens he bummed him up to hell. He made him look like he was the second coming of Vader.
Yep.
Then in this film he was slagging him off. Now I know Kylo's a sensitive chap, but Jesus Christ, the deterioration in the relationship really come from him slagging the helmet. I seen somebody mention that actually, about the helmet, how it was one of the favourite things about the character, and they've destroyed that now as well. Kind of agree with that. I love the voice and the helmet in general. But yeah, I mean, as I said, I can completely believe that he wanted to kill him. It's just the way of the character, and it's possible that when he did discover the existence of Rey, he maybe dabbled with cutting Kylo loose and maybe taking Rey on as an apprentice, although as we do see when she arrives on the Supremacy, that couldn't have been anything he really took seriously, because he basically used her for the information to find out where Luke is, and then he just says he was going to do away with her nonchalantly, or he was going to get Kylo to do it in his place. But yeah, I mean, again, like most of the things in this article, it's all interesting, but how much does it actually play into the canon and the films going forward? Is it going to have much of a difference? I don't know.
Yeah, and just moving on to the final surprise that will be found in the Star Wars The Last Jedi novelisation, and that is Rey as a manifestation of the cosmic force, John.
This is probably the most interesting one for me, I have to say. Kind of ties back into much of the criticisms of the Rey character, but they basically say she's a Mary Sue. You can't really disagree to some extent, because there is moments where you're just like, really, she's lifting up whole entire blocks of rocks and she's not been taught how to do it. I can see some of the arguments, but this maybe helps go some way to explain it. It says there's a living force in which that encompasses the energy of life, and then you've got the cosmic force, which is really the will of the universe, and it's through Rey that came to be. It says, unlike Anakin, Rey wasn't conceived through the Force, but the Force basically chose her to rise to meet the rising dark. And I think we see that from Snoke in The Last Jedi. He actually pays a short little mention to that, where he says, when the light rises, the dark rises to meet it. When the dark rises, the light rises to meet it. He thought it was going to be Luke, but it turns out it was Rey. And this is maybe their way of getting round and explaining how she is so powerful without a great deal of training. The Force chose her, and I like the way they're kind of tying up little, I wouldn't like to say mistakes, but little discrepancies in the film. It's canon.
It certainly pees all over the theory of midi-chlorians, John.
Yeah, thank the heavens.
You know, which was a contradiction itself after we learned about the Force through, briefly I should say, through Ben Kenobi.
Oh, yeah, Ben.
In the Millennium Falcon and A New Hope. It's obviously emphasised more in The Empire Strikes Back with Yoda surrounds us and binds the galaxy and all that. Yes, this is the one that interests me the most as well, John. It certainly would give the character of Rey a bit more of an explanation why she is the way she is. And not so much The Last Jedi. I thought her character was played down a lot more in this one, but in The Force Awakens, you know, it was just one of those ones. Is there anything that she can't do? You know, and that's, I wouldn't say bad writing, but it's just, you know, kind of overshadows the rest of the Jedi and you know, the Force users from previous films. Certainly in the, you know, the vein of Luke Skywalker and his training. You know, he struggled to pick up one boulder, you know, and she's moving about 15 rocks out the road of a mountain to get her friends out. That certainly would, you know, give the character a bit more credibility, and I can understand why this would be included in the novel.
Yeah. The final thing we're going to discuss tonight, Stephen, just moving on, is that the introduction of the idea of time travel to the Star Wars galaxy and universe. It's obviously been introduced in one of the latest Rebels episodes, which aired last week. And basically, what we're going to be discussing now is, will JJ, and it's a question that's come up in many different places, will JJ use time travel in Star Wars 9 to fix some of the issues of The Last Jedi?
Yeah, I think this was the character Ezra. Discovers a world between worlds or something like that, and he makes his way through some kind of portal in a temple. And it is a place that stands outside of time and space. As he enters, he hears voices from across the entire spectrum of the universe, and he hears voices. Some are familiar, including future characters such as Rey and Kylo Ren along the way. And I don't know, I've not seen this episode of Rebels, so it's a very odd concept to place within the Star Wars universe. Certainly worked in Fox's X-Men universe with Days of Future Past, although that film was based loosely on a comic book of the same title. As far as the Star Wars universe goes, I can't see this working. I don't think J.J. Abrams is going to go there with it. Sometimes that happens, and certainly in franchises as big as Star Wars, where certainly, Dave Filoni is, I think, got a bit more creative freedom within the animated series. Whether or not you'd have that kind of freedom within the cinematic releases, I doubt it very much. I think you're opening up too many doors, or too many cans of worms in this case, by going down that road. It also would be a disservice to director Rian Johnson. A lot of people are assuming that Johnson peed all over Abrams' reintroduction of the Star Wars brand by basically just skimming over a lot of the questions, and some of them he didn't even answer, from The Force Awakens into The Last Jedi. We've heard it from the horse's mouth. J.J. Abrams is a big fan of The Last Jedi. He loves the screenplay, loved the film. He's certainly not taking any offence the way that Rian Johnson has gone with his film. I think it would be a bit of a disservice to Rian Johnson, regardless of what you feel about the story and how it played out. I think introducing something as stupid as time travel, and you know me, John, I'm a big fan of time travel films, Back to the Future, The Time Machine, etc. The Butterfly Effect, all that. They've got their place. It's not within the Star Wars universe.
No, I agree. I do. And I don't think J.J. Abrams will even consider using it in the episode 9. I think he's quite happy with the events of episode 8. If he isn't, then he's bluffing like a poker player, I tell you that. Because he was an executive producer. I think he helped produce Star Wars episode 8, so he had a say in it. And I don't want to see time travel coming in. The only way I could see this working is if he maybe want to find a way of taking Leia, the Leia character, out of the equation for episode 9 without writing her out in a pathetic way. And this could maybe be a way around maybe taking Leia out. I don't know how it would work though. I don't want to see this happening, I really don't. Certainly there's the talk of him going back and stopping Han Solo from getting killed. What's the point? He had his moment in the original trilogy. The Force Awakens was his film, it was his big goodbye, he was great in it. There's not much else that character can bring. Same with Luke Skywalker. I mean, I'd love Luke, but I don't think they're going to go back and save Luke, because if they go back and start tampering with him getting out as a Force projection, then you're losing the whole Resistance. He'll die if he doesn't do that, because the First Order will just wipe them out. So I don't know how it would work. I love Dave Filoni, what he does on these TV shows. I think he's probably closer to George Lucas than anybody else at Lucasfilm just now. With what he does, he's certainly got a vision, and he gets Star Wars better than anybody. But no, I don't agree with this one, sorry.
Yeah, the idea of time travel is something that's not new in Star Wars universe. As we previously mentioned, Star Wars Rebels is the first time it's been introduced as official canon. Yeah. Some believe that Luke's training on Dagobah in The Empire Strikes Back was a function of time bending, John. I don't know if you know this theory at all. This is about, Luke appears to be training for a lot longer than Han, Leia, Chewbacca and C-3PO are stuck on an asteroid, and the time they spent in Bespin, but that hasn't fully been explored in any of the books as of yet to make it the idea a reality. I think that's just down to filmmaking more than anything. I just think that the storytelling purposes, it just appeared the timing of both sequences were a little bit out of sync, and I think fans are just looking a wee bit too deep into those scenarios.
Yeah, it's like the whole why does this guy get a longer lightsaber? Why is it deflecting and not slicing through in Return of the Jedi thing again, isn't it? Rewriting canon to fit agendas and stuff. I've had many an argument with people on Twitter over the whole Luke training and people slagging Rey off for having very little training, and I say, well, Luke moved a couple of rocks, done some pirouetting with Yoda on his shoulders, and that was him. He was a Jedi Knight ready to take on Vader. So I think that's just people trying to cover up some of the mistakes that were made to just improve the pacing of the original films. Wouldn't look too much into that. I doubt there was any time bending on there. That's a bit far-fetched. I think we're just having to accept that the films were 2 hours long. There's only so much you can cram into it without affecting the pacing. But as I says, I don't want to see time travel popping up in Star Wars. That's something that's in Star Trek. It's got a place there. That's a more logical type of universe where they can get around the sun and affect gravity and stuff like that. That's something that's never been explored. Although I did touch upon that recently with the Han Solo chat, the Kessel Run. I think there was people says, was Han Solo, was he like really 60 or 70 years old or something, or 60 years old in the original trilogy by the time he met Luke and Ben? Had he skirted too close to a black hole in the Kessel Run? That's how he managed to bend time or something. I don't know. Even now I'm confused with it's hurting my brain, but no, I don't want to see time travel. That's the gist of it. I don't want to see it happening. It would be ridiculous. Just leave it be.
Yeah, I mean, listen, just keep the Star Wars universe simple. Keep it fun and entertaining, and let's not get too bogged down and things like that. But no, I certainly don't want to see that at all in the Star Wars universe. It's certainly it can work in a television animated series. Yes, of course it can, because I do believe that there's a bit more creative freedom in the animated series and novels as well, but certainly don't want to see it in any of the cinematic releases.
And yeah, that's us come to the end of the first Force Friday show of many. We do hope you've been enjoying rambling about Star Wars, all things Star Wars, and until the next time, goodbye. Remember guys, if you're enjoying the content we're putting out, then do subscribe to us on YouTube, iTunes and Google Play, whilst also giving us a little follow on Facebook at Movie Burner Entertainment and on Twitter at Movie Burners. You can also catch up with all the latest reviews we're putting out on the Movie Burner blog at movieburnerintertainment.org. Until the next time, goodbye.